education system. And it shows that there's a kind of a disjunction between learning and living. And in the course, it gives me an opportunity when I come to talk about the issue of decolonizing higher education to link my own experience with the problems most of you face when you're doing your master's and your PhD. I've been supervising honors, master's, and PhD for a long time. I don't say how many years. You find, especially those who are doing MBAs, you can find someone doing all the coursework, but they get stuck when it comes to research. I know that problem. There are people who want to join master's, PhD, even at honors level, and he's grappling around. Oh, I don't know how to choose a topic. What am I going to research on? You can see there that he or she cannot relate what she wants to study with her own life. And that is one of the problems we're facing when we talk about the problem of Western education. Another thing I actually put it there is a question ask questions. I took an initiative myself from actually to bring Larry here, president of the first American University of Sovereign Nations. He's here. It was not easy to bring him here. So don't come and ask me there, how are the school fees, how whatever. And the guy himself who founded the university is here. It's a privilege. That's why physically we were talking that the demand was many are called, but few are what? It's in the Bible somewhere. So take that opportunity on behalf of others to ask questions. So don't trouble us again phoning, writing emails about the American University of Sovereign Nations, while the person who is the founder of the university is here. You understand what I'm saying? Because he can answer. He's here live, so ask him. He's here live.
Cool.
Now, what I was trying to say about why do we need to decolonize higher education? And as I said, I'm just building from your own expectation to show that there is a disjunction between what we learn and what we are doing in life. Let me come to my own experience. I did my master's and PhD many years ago. I can't count when. Something. Some when I did my PhD, but some of you were not even born. Something. Yeah. He knows we were together in Germany for many years. So when I was doing my master's, I had an opportunity when I went to university. It's the time in Tanzania. I come from Tanzania like him. You can't go to university unless or until you have gone through national service. Go for military training and you go to work in communities. And from there you go and to university. So the aim of education in those days was also to minimize that disjuncture between learning and what? Living. So when I was doing my master's, I did not have a problem choosing a topic because I wrote on a problem facing where I come from. I come from a part of Tanzania known as the Tanga region. Tanga region was the center of the sisal industry. Sisal is a fiber. So I was always asking, first of all, before I did my PhD, I was also on the same stuff. There was a time in the 70s, up to mid-60s, 70s, when the sisal prices were going down. And Tanzania, the economy was depending on sisal as the raw material. And a lot of workers were being retrenched because the sisal industry could not accommodate them anymore. And most of them, like they find here with the mining, they came from different countries, Mozambique, they came from Zambia, whatever, they all were working in the sisal industry where I come from. So I was looking at that problem. What can we do to ensure that instead of exporting raw sisal, we export processed sisal? You can process sisal into carpets, into what? If you go to Mexico there, where the sisal industry in Tanzania originally came, there's a place called Yucatan. So where originally the Richard Hindoff, the German who brought sisal, Tanzania was, until the First World War, a German colony. So Germany was very much dependent on fibers from other countries. So they decided to look for a kind of a plant which matches the climatic conditions. So he brought sisal. But later on the sisal was going down. So my topic was based on my own experience where I come from. And what I'm trying to say here is, start with what you know, your own life. We have one of my PhD students, Annie Grace. He's writing on the Ndao people in Zimbabwe. That's where she comes from. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to say here, you don't have to travel yourself looking for topics, whatever. And why there are so many problems facing rural communities where you come from, or even the townships. You get what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to anchor decolonization from your own experience. Okay? You travel yourself looking for a topic. In other words, you're only interested in the paper, not the relevance of the paper to your own life. Are we together? Hey, and that brings one of the issues I'm talking about decolonization. And if you look at the higher education system, and higher education is not only university, but also other areas which are post-secondary education, is the fact that the Western education suffers from being criticized for suffering from two acute problems. And one of them is too foreign, and another aspect is too rationalistic, and the emphasis on objectivity. I give you also another example. IKS, we don't have, in Northwest University where I was there for many years, I introduced PhD master's program. We have our own program, people can start a bachelor's degree in IKS, master's in IKS, but at UKZN, we don't have that one. So our students are scattered everywhere. She is in the School of Religion, what do you call that? School of Religion, or whatever, somewhere in Peter Marisburg. But she is doing her PhD, she's almost completing in IK, focus on IKS. We have students, and one of them also was here with us at BKS. He's doing his originally from Cameroon. He's doing his PhD on how can indigenous knowledge systems contribute to mitigate contemporary conflicts in a particular community in Cameroon. She's writing on issues of indigenous belief and practices among the Ndao people with regard to pregnancy. That's what she's doing, where she comes from. Now, when that PhD student of mine who is doing indigenous knowledge in contemporary conflict was presenting his proposal in the School of Social Sciences, fortunately, I came there about 10 minutes before after he started. The whole group there was saying, why should you study your community? You will be what? Biased. Are we together? You see the problem? The whole issue here is the emphasis here. You are involved in political theories, economic theories, and you never learn anything about the theories from your village, your community. In sociology, you learn about Auguste Comte, Emily Durkheim, Herbert Spencer, something, Max Weber, all those, Hegel, things like that. People who lived in 19th century what? Europe. How does it relate to Kanyagudi? Are we together? So one of the aspects we are doing at the center is what they did one time. We are trying to bring new ways of knowing, new world views based on our own what? Experiences. Are we together? Hey. So that is also one problem. It's too foreign in higher education in Africa generally. It's too foreign because it is based, first of all, it was introduced here by colonialism. perpetuated by our own scholars, African scholars. You see something? When I was in Germany, we were also students together in Germany. I was there almost, I don't know how many, 15, 20 years. When we wanted to start a German community, they said, no, you can't start a German community because you don't know it. You understand something? Now, my student goes to study his own community in Cameroon, and someone, a whole professor in social science, says you can't study your own community because you'll be what? Biased. So where do I go? You got something? You see the contradictions here? Hey. So that's why part of our decolonization, we said that knowledge is community-based. And I study my community because I know it, I know the language, I know the way of thinking. You see what I'm saying? It is based on the domination of Western ways of knowing. Eurocentric idea. As I said, when you study biology, or no, sociology, right? Same thing when I did natural sciences in my O levels. It was the same thing. You never read a book written by an African. You read books written by Europeans, whatever they. Right? Why Africa is rich in biology. There are so many issues which we could do our research based on those aspects. What indigenous knowledge or our responsibility as promoters of indigenous knowledge are trying to do. And as I pointed to you, that one of the aspects which you need to change your mind is running away from that positivistic approach that science is, or research is very free. You must stand on top there, try to look at it. In other words, the Western world has also that idea that there is only one social reality. Whereas in our case, we say no, there is no one reality. As long as we live in diverse cultural environments, as long as we live in different geographic, ecological, cultural diversity, the knowledge systems are not the same. Your experiences are not experiences. I grew up in different, we come from the same country with 123 or more ethnic groups. Where I come from, is totally different. So you cannot have a very free science. You cannot have only one science. Are we together there? So I'm trying to talk all these aspects so that it goes into your research methodologies. That in the selection of research methodology, you must also take into account. And that's why most of you here, you are only talking about research methodologies, but nobody mentioned about the theoretical aspect of it. Because your methodological approach, including selection of your topic, must also be influenced or informed by your conceptual framework. What is your conceptualization of the problem you want to investigate? Are we together there? And your conceptualization should also be based on the way you experience it in the community. In other words, what you are doing is you forget totally your own experience, that it is part of your conceptual framework. And that experience from the way you grew up, you find the problem is not only the higher education, even at primary or kindergarten, lecture education. What the child does at home and what he or she experienced in school is totally different. She might be very good in counting cows or whatever. She does those things. She knows all the bets. But when he or she goes into a biology class, as if she had never seen a bet. When we were doing physics in old days, you are studying a combustion engine. I grew up in a village where I don't know when the first time I saw a car. So you end up doing what? Cramming. I did literature for my A levels, but we were discussing things about snow. By then, I had never been by then to Kilimanjaro or see snow. But you are conceptualizing Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. Some of the things you about Europe or winter, whatever, but you've never seen winter. Not the winter you are talking here, the winter in Europe. When I first arrived in Germany, the temperature was -30. Have you seen the fridge there is warm? You want to know something? Are we together there? Hey. So what I'm trying to sensitize you, there is nothing like value-free science. There is no one social reality. Realities are different. As long as realities are different, because we live under different, there is no one science or research approach. And that's what I'm talking. The question of social rate. So we need to go beyond the question that there is only one reality, and what we should only do is to go out there and discover that reality. And there's also the same conceptualization I'm talking about, that in Western philosophy, Western epistemology, Western worldview, to be scholarly and to be scientific includes that aspect of detachment from community, detachment from politics. You must be up there and look at the turmoil there, because there is only one reality, but we differ in the methods of discovering that reality. That's why you find that most of the natural scientists, they don't consider us social scientists as scientists, because they say we are too subjective. We put morality or in research, and research and science has nothing to do with morality. It's very free. And those are the things we are trying to question in our approach to science and research in IKS. And it's on the same basis we find that the whole contribution of Africa in science and technology tends to be neglected. The role of our traditional healers, the contribution of traditional tends to be neglected in history. Very few of our students or very few of our textbooks talk anything about the contribution. Even the tendency also reducing the whole of Africa into Egypt. Not knowing even those the Greeks and the Romans or the Plato, whatever, the Pythagoras, whatever. They stole knowledge from Egypt there and made it their own knowledge. If the names of Africans, they changed them into European names. The contribution of Asia, or China, India, or the Arabs in mathematics is totally neglected. We all know that all mathematics, the science, the what, come from Germany, Italy, or United States. So that is also one criminal action Western knowledge done. And another important aspect which we also try to neglect is the importance of oral history, the oral traditions of our national elders. Of course, we understand that when you write, something stays longer than talking, but there is also virtue in oral knowledge. And most of our societies were based on those things, and those things have contribution. So what I'm trying to say here is this: you need to have also a paradigm shift. While we respect the importance of written knowledge, but we should not marginalize the role of oral ways of communication and relationship with written traditions, especially on the fact that a large number of people have not gone through Western literacy, whatever. And that's why also in our case of IKS, we are also now trying, yesterday you attended that session, those who were there at the BRICS conference. One of our students, this initiative we came up, we are trying to bring visual arts into IKS. Because a lot of our people, and in fact even most of you here, very few people read, I must be honest. The culture, we grew up, some of us, reading, buying books. There are people who don't buy even a book. I remember the first time I came here to South Africa, so many years ago, we had an anniversary of Africa Institute there. I bought a book with about 500 rand. They thought I'm crazy, something. Why should you pay 500 buying a book? But that's the tradition I grew up with. You know something? Hey. So what I'm trying to say here is, we need also to put emphasis on particular cultures, and the most important thing here is the question of oral forms of knowledge. And we are now putting emphasis on visual art. But a lot of our people can't read big texts. They have no time for that, even most of you. If you take away the internet, you're finished with something. So we have to find new ways of ensuring that the knowledge we are propagating is also, or populates or reaches other sections of our society. Yeah, and also another aspect is as part of, I said before, that we as emerging researchers and scholars, we must critique the motivation and values that inform Western thought and research practices, methodologies. And also the problem why you don't understand those methodologies is the fact that they're also foreign. You see what I'm saying? We must also understand that Africans in their own particular environments, for years, they've also been doing research. You see what I'm saying? They bring a lot of experimentation, the discovery of agriculture, right? There was a time whereby, if you read the history of agriculture in Africa and the world, people observed animals eating particular plants and fruits. Something. If they see that animal dies by eating a particular, no, that one is poisonous, or eating a particular plant. But that takes a long-term observation, and that's what we are talking about in science and research. And there are cases whereby women, especially, who are the basis of agricultural knowledge and whatever, they even experimented sometimes with their own children. You see what I'm saying? Those are things they can't say. There's so many things women do in knowledge production which they can't even communicate. Are we together? So they can even try the monkey eats that does not die. And they also give it to our own child. And sometimes come adventurous, give it to the monkey survives. You say, suppose I try with my own child, and the child dies. Do something. And he knows that this thing can be eaten by animals, but human beings cannot do what? You see, what I'm trying to sensitize you here is Africans in their own environment, especially women, who are the custodians of knowledge production and our survival in our household families, are involved in scientific activities, which from the Western perspective, we don't call them science or research. And what I'm also emphasizing the fact that when you are looking for your research problem, when you are looking for your research methodology, you need to take those things into consideration. So there's no need of getting bogged somewhere looking for a research methodology, a research topic, while you are sitting on the research topic. Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking. So the question also of issues of language is a very important aspect. That's why also here in University of KwaZulu-Natal, they also emphasize writing our research in isiZulu. Because there are certain aspects of indigenous knowledge which cannot be translated. You understand that? There are certain phrases, whatever they, if you translate them in another language, you lose the point. So the issue of language is very important. Very, very important. Because if you go there with your English, and then that woman talking in Sizulu, in Swana, or whatever, you are missing the point. So the question of language is also very important in your research methodology. It needs to be accommodated. And the other point of that we need to understand that indigenous people community have always been involved in knowledge production, asking questions that matter to them, and they have sought to answer them through mobilization of various sources, including their own personal women, children, whatever, things like that. So, yes, in the decolonization of Western knowledge. So this gathering, the workshop here, is meant to inculcate the realization, appreciation, and research knowledge as social processes. There's so many issues, and that is also comes to your research methodology when you select your research methodology. When you articulate, how do you articulate your research methodology? That in IKS or in community-based research, a research process is not a solitary activity. It involves different people. The process from the time you select your topic, whether it's problems of poverty or indigenous vegetables among Asians and Africans or whatever they do a comparison, it involves a range of other people. When you go into collecting data there, the knowledge holders are also part of your research process. The selection, the sample you are selecting and you are going there. Not everybody is a traditional healer, but you would like to know how many people attend or are being treated by that traditional healer. You work with him through a snowball process. He says, I'm dealing with 5-3 patients a day, whatever. They form part of your sample size. Are we together then? Hey. So it's a combination of research methods. Because if you come to my office as a director, you ask me about the center, I can tell you the version of the center, you know something. But you meet me in a bar, I say, the things I told you. In other words, there's something we call in research triangulation. You use triangulation, different methods of getting information or to validate, because your data must also be valid. The instruments must also be reliable. Are we together there? And you can also validate those instruments, reliability and validation, if you read in your books of research, through triangulation. Because the research methods, the different research methods we employ, they cross-reference one another. There is information you get by interviewing an individual, you come and you cross-reference it in a focus group discussion. Are you together there? There is information you get through a questionnaire where you ask individuals, you cross-reference in a focus group discussion, or you go and observe it. It could be direct or by participating in a wedding. It depends on the subject you are investigating. Are we together there? Hey. So I'm trying to sensitize you the importance of IKS and the methodology. That research is not a solitary thing. In IKS, research is a collective effort because there are so many people involved in the process. And also another important thing in this workshop, for you as researchers, whether you are doing IKS or you are doing sociology or you are doing MBA, whatever they are, is to provide you with the knowledge, the tools of social analysis through exposure to different ways of knowing. That while you are looking at those feminist theories, you are looking at those Afrocentric theories, you are looking at all those theories of biology or theories of chemistry, whatever they are, you must know that there are different ways of looking at social reality. There is no one social reality. So it also gives you the tools. How do you, that's why the theoretical part, you are emphasizing only the methodology. You don't talk about the theoretical aspect because it's the conceptual framework informs your methodological approach. The way you conceptualize an issue, even the words you use in a conversation, reflect the way you understand the issue. Are we together there? So you must look at there's a symbiosis between theory and what? And methodology. If you are conversant in the theoretical conceptualization, that's why I said, I emphasize, base your research on what you know, on your own home experience, because it rationalizes you in a thing there. When you can go anywhere in the world, we say that is the way we do at home. That's the way the Ndau do. That's the way the Bakweri in Cameroon do. They've never been there. So you can talk with authority. And that's why most of you go into international conferences, you can't open your mouth because you don't understand what is going on. It does not really relate to what you are experiencing. Just as that American or whatever comes to your village, he's or she's out of place because the social reality is different. But if you write or you research on what you know, you can talk about it anyway. And if they even give you the luxury of talking in Zulu or Setswana, you are flying there. They don't even understand what you're talking about. Yeah? Are we together then? The importance of language and the importance of basing your research on what you know yourself. That is the important thing. So that is, and I don't want to take a lot of time. We can discuss some of the issues when we want.